Hey everybody, Stitch 1993 here, back again with another underrated / overlooked game. This time we're looking at Monster House, the video game. Based on the movie of the same name, this was developed by Artificial Mind and Movement and published by THQ for the PlayStation 2 and the GameCube here in North America on July 18th, 2006. The gameplay you're seeing is from the GameCube version. If you haven't ever watched the movie, I highly recommend checking the movie out. It's a really dark kids movie. It really pushes that PG rating there. The plot is, for the movie, the day of Halloween, October 31st. The main characters, DJ and Chowder, live across from this old man's house called Mr. Nevercracker's house, and they always think it's creepy, but then later on they find out the house actually does eat people, and you find out the unfortunate reason why this is a house, but they do explore it, and it gets dark both in story and imagery. It's just such a creepy movie. It really freaked me out back when I watched it when I was a kid. It still gives an eerie feeling to me today, even as an adult. So the game just follows the exact story. It explains the story briefly in the game through scrapbook photos, and then you're just dropped right into the house. You do explore more of the house than what they explore in the movie, of course. In the video game, you explore basically every level, sometimes multiple times, because you do get split up gameplay-wise between DJ, Chowder, and Jenny. There's not much difference between the three characters. I really wish it was one of those games where you could just choose which character you could play as, and they would give more of a reason as to why you would want to choose each of the characters, but each of them, outside the guns having slightly different ways of shooting, they're all basically the same gameplay. And so parts of a level you'll play as DJ, and then the game will switch to another area of the house where you play as Chowder, and then the game will switch to another area where you play as Jenny, and sometimes you'll help each of the other characters out as they get moved around the house. That's the story. And the gameplay, it's your average kind of, I always like calling this the Resident Evil or Silent Hill Junior game. More emphasis on the Silent Hill portion. You do have sort of tank controls, but they're not terrible. The game is playable. You have infinite ammo when it comes to your water gun, and then you have a secondary weapon, which you get limited to 5 pieces of ammo before you have to reload, and the only way you can reload is by finding little tool chests or treasure chests around the house. And each of the characters does have a different secondary weapon, but I found myself not really, for the most part, using the secondary weapon unless I was going up against a boss. Most of the time you can just defeat all the creatures very easily with the water gun. The reason why I say Silent Hill Jr. is because all of the enemies are not going to show up right away. Like, you eventually, once you play the game long enough, you can figure out which pieces of furniture are really just pieces of furniture and which ones are enemies. There's little slight telltale signs, but it's kind of especially if you're playing this for the first time, it is definitely going to catch you off guard sometimes, because the creatures could be planks of the floor, they could be chairs, furnaces, televisions, light fixtures, heck, even the vases and the potted plants can float and attack you. Going into the dislikes of the game first, speaking of the potted plants and vases, can't shoot them, but it's just really easier to evade them or just let them attack you because they're not going to do much health, and I found it was really hard to evade them and even harder to shoot them. Another big issue is there's no real save function. It just kind of automatically saves in certain parts of the game. You'll know when it saves, but there's just too much gap between saves. So if you've gotten pretty far and then all of a sudden, you get hit too many times, guess what? You're going all the way back to the last time it saved, and you could have been playing for a good couple areas before it had previously saved, so that's the only issue there. And of course my issue with the characters, it does have a bit of a collectability area. There's these little monkey symbol toys that you can collect. Sometimes they're pretty hidden, sometimes they're just kind of in plain sight, and all you gotta do is just kind of walk over near it and it'll automatically save for you. The really interesting part of this game, I feel like, and is my reason why you should check out this game, is for the mini game that is included is Thou Art Dead. You can't play it right away as soon as you open the game for the first time. You have to go around the main game and collect coins, and then, you know, save, exit out, or finish the main game, go back to the main menu and click on the Thou Art Dead game. And this is, if you've seen the movie, it's the arcade game that the delivery guy is playing, and it is just the greatest ode to ghouls and goblins, I feel like, that I've ever played. And this game, this mini game, it's a full-fledged ghouls and goblin game, and it's never been released. I looked it up. It's not on, outside of the consoles that it came out on. The game also came out as a handheld version for the DS and the Game Boy Advance, and that was also on there. But it never got released, you know, differently. It never got released individually, never got released separately as like on Steam later on or anything. So this is kind of a, not a lost game, but just, you know, kind of really hidden gem within a slightly dirtier gem type of game. It plays just like a Ghouls and Goblins game, and yeah, it's a little nice side scroller. And this was before the indie game explosion where everybody was kind of making their own versions of Ghouls and Goblins and Castlevania. So this was a real treat for people that grew up with this game. This was like a nice little spiritual successor / ode to it. So if anything, check out this game just for this game. It's depend on the console, it can vary. The game price varies. It fluctuates a lot. I know for a couple months it was like a cheap $10-15 game, and then for a couple more months it jumped up to like $30 to $40, and now it fluctuates between $20 to $50. So just keep your eye on. When you think it's a good deal for you, pick it up. I think I overpaid for this game when I bought it, because I just bought it again recently after previously owning it. So if I probably just searched a little bit more, I probably would have been able to find it for a much better deal. But yeah, let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are, of course, on the game, if you either grew up with it or if this is your first time checking it out. And also, what are your thoughts about the movie? Because it's a really dark movie, especially for what's supposed to be a kid's movie. Of course, like and subscribe for future videos like this, and until next time, thank you and have a good day.